Hello and welcome to the Craftman Show. My name is your host, the Craftman LLC Corporation. Craftman, you can't say things like that on TV, YouTube. Please do not consider this episode to be financial or legal advice. All right? I really don't know why I said that, because this video have nothing to do with that. What? In today's video, this is a macro lens. Specifically, it's a probe lens, because look at that right there. I honestly never thought I would have one of these lenses, because it's just such a specialty lens, and we're going to get into some of the things later. But if you saw my previous video, then you have already seen this lens in action. Now, if I was only capturing just the every now and then macro shot, I would not be having this lens. But I realized I can do a every now and then macro shot plus animation. Oh snap, that's cool. This is not a promotional video. They did not send me this. I bought it, saved about $200 on it, feel good about it, really like it. Want to show it to you, show you the disadvantages, the advantages of it. I'm very excited about it, tell you that much. Let's say I wanted to get a nice close-up of this gentleman right here. Why come Lego Man's all the way over here? Well, that's because the minimum focal distance on this lens will only let me go to that far. Watch this. When I come in, see that? Then if I try to focus it, look here. It's only going to let me be that close. So let's go ahead and back it up. And so one thing you could do is to capture that at high resolution, which is what Dragon Frame does anyway. And that's why you can use something like an old Canon T2i. This one of my cheapest DSLRs right here that I have. But this will capture over HD, over 4K quality in that old little camera. So that's why I like the way Dragon Frame works. So what you can do is capture high resolution of that. So, and then crop in on it. Boom. Then you still got your HD picture right there of the gentleman. But what if we wanted to get an actual close-up shot and get as many pixels as we can? Alright, so this is what that footage looks like. You can't see nothing. See, yes. One of the kinds of this lens requires a lot of light. Look at the f-stops right here. Typically on that first number, you want it to be a low number. Like this right here, my old Super Takamar 1.4, that's the f-stop. It means it goes from f1.4 to f50. That's your iris, that's how much light's coming in here. That tiny little hole, ain't a lot of light coming out, that's f50. Open that thing back up. Right there is f1.4. This one here starts out at f14. That's crazy. Goes to f40. If you need more things in focus, then that's where a higher f-stop number can come into valuable for you. So the lower the f-stop number, the more light and the smaller the sliver of things is in focus. The higher the number, the less light, but a larger window of things is in focus. So that we can see an idea what we're dealing with. Let me raise my ISO. And we've got it set to infinity. That's the background way off. We need to turn the thing back a little bit. All right. So that's what that looks like. But we don't want to use a high ISO. Look at all that noise of footage. Think of it like film grain, but not as pleasant as film grain. You know, you can compensate for that by adjusting things like the shutter speed, you know. But I like to keep my shutter set to 1/48th of a second. That's the equivalent of a 180-degree shutter in film. So what can we do? We add some lights to the picture. That's what I'm talking about right there now. And I'm sorry about the overexposures throughout this video, but it's really just to illustrate how much light is needed for these types of shots. And so I got a little LED panel right there, just a little tube light back there. If you want to keep something from rolling off the table, just stick a rubber band under it. Boom, 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 boom. This was considered the entry level to aperture, APUTURE lighting, the Amaran 100D. And we can use these gels and things to modify the color of the light. Now this lens does have a light built into it. It's just too much of a blast for me, you know, in a different way, but might be worth doing some type of diffuser around that. But now I would have to experiment because, you know, I don't want to get the LEDs too hot, something crazy happen, you know, but yeah. So that's very blown out. Let me stop it down, and that way we can see what we're looking at. With the right amount of light, you ain't got to worry about ISO noise. I just wanted to show y'all that. So a pro of this lens, it lets you use all the pixels. That's wonderful. Now you can also use a zoom lens. Disengage. You can also use a zoom lens. That's going to give you more close-up action of your subject. So between that and cropping that I showed you earlier, that could be a pretty good solution. Now by introducing some space between the camera body and the lens, you can get really close macro shots, alright? They make these cheap little things right here. And even just adding that much space will allow you to get closer to your tiny little subject. But there's a reason that Craftman does not like to use modern, electronic, camera-controlled aperture lenses, fancy lenses. I like manual lenses for stop-motion animation because of this right here.
Finally, the aperture flicker. That's the reason why we love so much the manual lenses. Those ones doesn't make flicker.
Imagine animating your scene and then see it had a flicker to it. If you ever hear somebody talking about a fast lens, a lot of times it's got a low f-stop number on it. That means it's good in low light situations. A lot of these old lenses, though, the glass in it, thorium glass, whatever it is, it's radioactive, so that lens probably radioactive right there. Or maybe this one might be the one. The Jupiter 9 right there. Possibly both of them radioactive. That's pretty And you can get a more modern lens right there. Manual focus, manual aperture. There's a tiny aperture. There's a big aperture. Big means small number. And that's my cheapest lens right there. We made that in a previous episode. And I show you that to show you that's basically a tiny little aperture right there. See there? And a tiny aperture means that most things is in focus. Yes. Now, just like with a telephoto lens, the macro lens, any little movement is going to show up like a big movement. See that? So it is critical to have this thing locked down. What I mean by that, on a tripod, or maybe glued to the floor on the tripod. So you have to deal with the shakiness of it, keeping this thing stabilized. I also look there right there. See? Yes, this bill counts. Now, Mr. Lego Man, you could tell he dusty. He been sitting on my shelf, so naturally some dust was collecting on it. But compare that right there to that right there. And that brings me to my next point. In my miniatures video, I was constantly using that airbrush. It gave me more gentle pressure than, my shop compressor will do. That will blow things off the table. That's my little lens cleaner. I keep it in my camera bag. But my Patreon supporters turned me on to this right here dust cleaner. Watch this. Another kind, it is expensive. So that's the most expensive lens that I own right there at this point in time. I did get it on sale at the end of the year from B&H Photo Video. So that was good. The thing that pushed me over the edge to just go on ahead and get this lens is my introduction to abandoned miniature.
This just enables me to get all the way inside my dioramas with the probe lens.
Which, by the way, please check out Nick's channel if you have not. But man, he got me wanting to get that lens. Thank you, Nick, for that. And thank you for what you do with your channel. But another pro is, it's an expense. Craftman needed a business expense. It's the end of the year. That helps me out on taxes. Thank you for watching this episode. Let's just pretend like this is welded down to the table, and we would like to get a wonderful shot going through that door right there and seeing this gentleman. This window is going to act like a jail and modify the light color coming in there. Sure look pretty neat, I think. But to illustrate my point, we can't, we can't fly that through that door right there. We can remove a wall, remove a ceiling, take the roof off of it. But with that probe lens, so I got us a scene right here set up. This is what the footage looks like. And I'm just doing this from my tripod, the movement. And I'm doing this by hand, so we're going to be difficult. But what if we want a better system than trying to slide that thing like something crazy? Well, that's where you get something like a slider right there. I also got that on sale end of year. Come on now, Craftman, with the expenses. Oh yeah, baby. That's going to allow us to do like Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan and boldly go where no lens had gone before. The bigger picture here is Craftman is passionate about animation. You know, if I could do it all over again, my channel would not be called Steady Crafting, it would be Steady Crafter Animation. And I'm not fixing to not do crafting at all, but I really want to put some time into animating. And not just, I got this Lego idea I want to do, this scripted, this needs to be dialogue recorded, everything. I've put some work in behind the scene. I also want to pick back up on Heckflip. I do have the script written for that as well, but it's just sitting there. You know, and if anybody interested in a real breakdown on how this thing works, because it's fun, right? Let me know in the comments. This is not a trick, by the way. I really want to know in the comments if you would like to see a video on this slider. I asked because there's a bunch of them already, because I done watched them all before I got those. But I'm probably going to be taking off for a couple of weeks to be honest. My wife, my doctor, it's a good recommendation for me to, they said, lower my cortisol level. Huh? What's that mean? Until next time, I love y'all and keep on steady crafting. All right. Turn the Japanese. I think I turned the Japanese. Hello and welcome. Craftman, you making me nervous with that expensive lens going to roll off of your workbench. That's all right. This is all done on the computer. Don't. See, that's 3 dimensional. It's not, it's real. I could actually, let me just hang on to it. And today's video. But we don't want to have to turn up the ISO so how, what I'm trying to. But I like to keep my shutter speed. Oh my goodness, let's see. I hit the wrong thing. Oh my goodness. I just dropped my slime on the floor. Here go a rubber band right there. That's the adventures of rubber band. All right, I film the Fujifilm X-T3 for anybody who's new to the channel. That's one of my cameras. I got this one, and I got, watch this right here. Let's see where we at. Where we at? Let's see right there. Wait, hold on. Why is this so hard to? That one right there. See, it's the same thing. If I wanted to keep that lens from sliding out right there, when it's upside down, I just come out and I do that. That enables the lock on it. And I don't use batteries anymore. I just keep it plugged in. It's got a little adapter right there, see? I was taking down my overhead camera to show y'all. And look at this right there. The biggest reason I got this rig right here is so that I could use a cable lock on it. And that's just to keep it from tugging back and forth. And that's just a good example of how your cable matters. I saved me a couple $200 off of it. Got it on sale, you know, with the end of the year thing they do. But, yeah, you know.